Finally, there's a bank ad campaign that's going to make you feel all warm and fuzzy. I just love the fact that ABSA is basing a new advertising campaign on a series of experiments on preschool children. It's not nearly as bad as it sounds. It's all about deferring gratification, delaying gratification. Let's get somebody to explain it to us, because Henry van Deventer was the guy who originally told me about this story, and he is a financial planner. He's an expert in financial matters at Axis, and he joins us in the Money Show studio this evening. Henry, tell me about these experiments on children. It sounds terrible, doesn't it, say experiments on children, but there was actually quite a nice sort of proposition behind it.
Well, firstly, experimenting on children is a factor of how much sleep you're getting, and I'll leave it at that. No, this story is quite an interesting one. In the early 1970s in Stanford, 1972, they did an experiment with about 600 kids between the age of 4 and 6. And what they did is they put them in a small little room, and on the table, an adult that they didn't know put a marshmallow in a little white porcelain saucer, and said to them quite simply, look, I'm going to go out the room for 15 minutes. And when I get back, if you've not eaten the marshmallow, I will give you another one. So it's as simple as that. And the adult left. Now, it's actually fascinating. If you go into YouTube and you search for the Stanford Marshmallow Test, they've got the most brilliant video material about this, because some of the kids, the adult wasn't even out the room and that marshmallow was already in their mouth. But many of the other kids sort of sat around, and for some reason most of them sniffed it. They sniffed, and some of them licked it, and some of them sat on their hands or turned their back away, and it was this really painful experiment. In the end, about 1 out of 3 kids managed not to eat the marshmallow, managed to wait it out. So in short, what this was about,
I'm about to say to you, other than being extraordinarily cruel to small children, what was the purpose?
Well, firstly, having sat behind a small kid on the plane last week, I can think of many purposes. But for purposes of this experiment, what they were testing is they were testing basically, well, first and foremost, delayed gratification. Are you willing to make a short-term sacrifice for greater long-term gain? And parallel to that, they were testing impulse control. Now, what's interesting is this experiment was done 40-something years ago. So most of the kids in the experiments are now in their mid-40s, and they actually followed them through life to see if this was a one-off sort of happy moment that they had, or whether the ability to delay gratification actually yielded results later in life. Well, in short, what they found with the kids that were able to delay their gratification was that they did better at school, they were skinnier. Well, I guess that goes without saying. More of them got into university, more of them got university degrees, more of them graduated, less of them went to prison, more of them got married, more of them stayed married, and the statistics go on and on and on. If you look at any or most contemporary measures of happiness, the kids that were able to wait were better off.
Basically, it's the ability to delay gratification, whether it be in terms of consuming the marshmallow, or whether you're able to take money, put it away, save it for a rainy day, put it towards a pension. All of that stuff is bred, not taught, because a 3 or 4-year-old isn't taught to delay gratification. They make a choice, a very particular individual choice, even at that age.
You're very right. And boy, it does raise the nature versus nurture debate again, doesn't it?
Huge.
Well, one of the considerations they looked at is if you were raised in a trusting environment, if you're quicker and easier to trust others, does it impact on your ability to take them on their word and wait it out? And by the way, let's apply this to any form of financial advice that we get. Yeah, if I look at my investment manager, my portfolio manager, my financial planner, do I know better? When the tide turns, when the market drops, when 2008 happens, or when I leave my job and I can withdraw my pension fund, do I know better, or do I wait for a greater benefit based on the word and the advice of another person?
And that is absolutely crucial. And this is where this particular ad comes in. We're talking about an ad which is, I'm not sure if it's on television yet. I'm going to talk to the advertising agency in just a second, but we butchered this particular ad because there are lots of visuals. It's a TV ad that's on YouTube. There's a link to it, incidentally, facebook.com/Bruce Business. You can see the whole ABSA ad there, but this is what the ad sounds like.
We asked Naledi to help us demonstrate a point about saving. She was given one marshmallow and told she could eat it now or save it for later and receive another. We know saving can be hard, but the rewards are worth the wait.
And then it tells you how you can go about doing it at ABSA. Darren Kilfoyle is a senior copywriter at the Jupiter Drawing Room in Johannesburg. Are you a new agency for ABSA, Darren?
No, Bruce. We've had them for about 7 years now.
So why has it taken this long for you to have an ad that I actually want to watch?
Well, I think as an agency, you're always proactively searching for ideas, and obviously this kind of evaded us for quite a while. And when we happened upon it in about April, I think we were just thinking this is the one. So we kind of ran straight to the client and said, "Hey guys, we got to do this."
Well, what is it that makes a good bank ad? Because over the decades, we have seen some extraordinarily poor advertising when it comes to banks. Banks either oversell their products, which they very seldom deliver in terms of the promises they make, or they make it obscure. Remember Nedbank's Neisner seahorse saving nonsense. What makes a good bank ad?
Well, I think for any ad, simplicity is kind of key. And what we love about these ads is that they speak to the ABSA brand personality. So they're warm, they've got a human story, and they just keep things kind of straightforward, and they allow the viewer to sort of connect with the people in the ad. And I think once you've made that sort of personal connection, I mean, when you're watching that ad, you actually feel like you're in the room with the child kind of going through their struggles. I think it's just the simple promise that the ad's making, and when the viewer can connect with it, the takeout is so much stronger.
Explain the casting process, please, because I saw 3 of the ads that you've got on YouTube, and each of the children is extraordinarily sweet. They are tortured little souls as they look at this little marshmallow sitting in the middle of a plate. You must have had great fun doing it.
Well, I don't want to sound like...
You don't want to sound vicious, mean, cruel, and horrible to children, but you must have had great fun making it, Darren.
I'm sure they heard us laughing behind the one-way glass. But the director, they actually initially cast, we worked with a child psychologist, and he kind of worked with the kids, because again, we're not trying to replicate the study, we're trying to make great advertising.
Correct.
So we worked with the child psychologist who actually did tests with the kids, different tests, just to see kind of what the reactions would be and who would be best to actually use in these commercials. So we started with about 200 kids. The director whittled it down to about 35, and we filmed all 35 of those kids, and to get to 3 great ones.
35, so 10% of the kids sort of cut the grade. Are you going to watch their progress over the years, Darren? As you say, you're not trying to replicate the experiment, but it would be interesting to see if these kids are able to defer consumption into the future.
Well, there was one little boy who he got his marshmallow and he put it in his pocket straight away, and he just sat there. He just waited out.
Oh, good trick.
And the moderator came back and gave him his other marshmallow, and he put it in his other pocket. And she said, "Aren't you going to eat it?" He says, "No, I'm saving this one too."
What a guy.
So I definitely think he's one to watch.
Darren Kilfoyle, thanks for the backstory behind that one. Back now to Henry van Deventer from Access. I mean, it's a wonderful... They've been true to the original experiment, but also showing that deferring consumption can pay off in the long term.
Absolutely, Bruce. And isn't that just what we battle with as investors? Yeah, by and large, we want to make the immediate decisions when we feel the gut impulse to do so. And it's humbling for us to have to learn from 4- and 5-year-old kids. But if we manage to contain and structure our behavior up front, the benefits are immense. However you look at it, however you run the numbers as an investor, if there's one trick you're going to learn, this needs to be it.
We learn from the mouths of babes. Henry van Deventer from Access, thanks very much for coming through this evening. Also to the Jupiter Drawing Room, well done to Darren Kilfoyle and the team at Jupiter Drawing Room. They've really pulled together a warm, genuine, really fabulous ad. If you want to see the ad, facebook.com/Bruce Business. The link to one of those ads is there.